So Christmas movies just hit different. Like they bring all the cozy vibes, the laughs, and sometimes even a little chaos. Well, today I thought it would be fun to dive into some of the most iconic Christmas movies ever. Whether it's the holiday magic of the Santa Claus, the hilarious chaos of Home Alone, or the dark humor of Scrooge. These movies aren't just classics, they come with some wild behind-the-scenes stories that make them even more fun to talk about. So grab some hot cocoa, get comfy, and let's talk about some Christmas movies.
The Grinch!
So let's start with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is a hilarious holiday comedy about Clark Griswold, played by Chevy Chase, an overly enthusiastic family man who's determined to create the perfect Christmas for his family. But everything goes wrong. His house decorations won't light up, unexpected relatives show up, and his Christmas bonus doesn't come through. And there's this scene where he's punching his holiday decorations in frustration. And turns out Chevy Chase went a little too hard that he broke his pinky finger, and you can actually see it in the scene cause they kept it in the final cut. So it's not confirmed if he destroyed everything on that level on purpose or if it was anger issues, cause Chevy's known for his bad temper and that's what actually got him kicked out of Community.
Your social skills aren't exactly streets ahead. Know what I mean?
I don't.
Next up is Home Alone. I think you all know this story. Little Kevin gets left behind while his family flies to Paris and he turns his house into a fortress against two burglars, Harry and Marv. Kevin defends his home using a series of hilariously creative and painful traps leading to a chaotic showdown. Joe Pesci, who played Harry, avoided Macaulay Culkin on set to make Kevin's fear of his character feel more authentic. And during the biting scene on rehearsals, Pesci got a bit carried away and actually beat Culkin, leaving him with a scar that remains to this day. And Pesci himself suffered some pain too. He sustained burns to the top of his head during the scene where Harry's hat catches fire. And speaking of dedication, Daniel Stern, who played Marv, had a real tarantula placed on his face for that memorable scream scene. The Grinch is a story about a grouchy green creature who despises Christmas and plots to ruin it for the cheerful residents of Whoville by stealing their decorations and presents. However, through an encounter with the kind-hearted Cindy Lou Who, he learns the true meaning of Christmas isn't about material things, but about love and togetherness. Now, behind the scenes, things were far from cheerful. Jim Carrey's transformation into the Grinch required an 8-hour makeup process every single day. And it was so intense that Carrey described it as being buried alive and underwent military torture training just to cope with the experience. On the first day of filming, he reportedly kicked a hole through his trailer wall and declared he didn't want to do the movie anymore. Also, his Grinch suit was made of green dyed yak hair, which obviously was both itchy and incredibly uncomfortable to wear. And let's not forget Max, the Grinch's adorable dog. Reports surfaced that Max, played by a rescue dog named Kelly, was poorly treated during production, sparking concerns about animal welfare on set. This is my favorite Christmas movie, so knowing what Jim Carrey and Kelly had to go through makes me appreciate it even more.
Clearance sale. Everything must go.
Okay, Die Hard. Yes, Die Hard. This is a Christmas movie, and it's this super intense action movie that happens on Christmas Eve. So there's this New York cop, John McClane, who flies out to LA to try and patch things up with his wife. She's at this big fancy Christmas party, but then a bunch of terrorists crash the party and take everyone hostage. McClane ends up being the only one who slips away, and he's basically running around the building barefoot, using whatever he can find to take these guys down, and all of this is happening with Christmas music playing in the background. And at the end of the film, spoilers, the bad guy, Professor Severus Snape, falls from the skyscraper, and that look of terror on his face is 100% real because the stunt team dropped him earlier than he expected. They wanted to get his authentic reaction, and they definitely got it.
I hope that's not a hostage.
The Santa Claus is about Scott Calvin, played by Tim Allen, a regular divorced dad who's just trying to connect with his son Charlie. So on Christmas Eve, they accidentally scare Santa off the roof, and when Scott puts on his Santa suit to finish the job, he unwittingly becomes the new Santa. Reindeer, North Pole, everything. And over time, Scott begins to transform both physically and mentally into the real Santa. And at the time of filming, Tim Allen was still overcoming his troubled past. Tim was arrested for having more than 650 grams of cocaine on him because he was a drug dealer. He spent 2 years and 4 months in jail because he helped the investigation by saying the names of more than 12 other drug dealers. So Disney typically has a policy against hiring ex-criminals, but they made an exception for him. And even though this is a family film, some jokes like the 1-800-SPANK-ME caused some controversy when kids dialed the number and ended up reaching an adult hotline. Which, by the way, I just called, and that hotline is still live.
1-800-SPANK-ME. I know that number.
And a Merry Christmas to you too.
Scrooge is the story of a grumpy, miserly old man who despises Christmas and everything joyful. And on Christmas Eve, he's visited by the ghost of his former business partner and 3 spirits, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. These spirits take him on a journey through his life, showing him how his actions have hurt others and what his future holds if he doesn't change. So it's a classic redemption tale about finding kindness, compassion, and the true spirits of Christmas. Bill Murray, who plays Scrooge, clashed with the director Richard Donner over creative differences, and Donner even described the experience as tough. And the film also sparked some controversy for being darker and more mean-spirited than what you would expect for a Christmas comedy, even though it ultimately delivers a redemption arc. And Carol Kane, who played the ghost of Christmas Present, accidentally injured Murray during a scene by pulling his lip too hard, leaving him in pain for days.
Now, close your eyes and think.
And that's the end of our festive journey through Christmas movies. I mean, who knew some of these behind the stories were so crazy, right? It just makes you appreciate these movies even more, knowing everything the cast and crew went through to bring us these holiday classics. So what's your go-to Christmas movie? Did any of these facts surprise you? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more film content, give it a thumbs up, go follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!